All right, we're in it. We're in the Italian Baroque after two videos. I know. Ugh. So, Baroque, Barocco, irregular shaped pearls. We see that in the diagonal lines, tension, pull. Irregular shaped pearls, it can still be beautiful, as we will see when we look at the art. It doesn't have to be perfectly balanced to be just as gorgeous. We start our discussion of the Baroque in Italy because that is the stronghold of the Counter-Reformation, and it is where we're going to see a lot of money and a lot of energy put into the art that establishes the Italian Baroque. Now, for the most part, the art we're going to be looking at for the Italian Baroque is going to be serving that goal. What's that goal say? To restore Roman Catholic dominance and centrality. This Reformation has caused a religious war, and in this war, the Catholic faith is going to try to win with art. Visual power is a way to manifest this authority over others. So keep that in mind when we look at the Italian Baroque. Most of it is going to be serving this goal of restoring Roman Catholic dominance and centrality. And for the most part, we're going to be hanging out in Rome because it is where the Pope lives, it's where a lot of the cardinals live. It's also a major pilgrimage site for a lot of people who are of the faith and may have questions or challenges of their faith. And so we're going to see a lot of art and energy in the city of Rome. Our first artist for the Italian Baroque, Bernini. Oh, what can I say? He is quintessential Italian Baroque. Gian Lorenzo Bernini. He's an Italian architect, painter, sculptor, playwright, stage designer, and basically one of the most important artists of the Baroque period. This is a self-portrait of him. By all accounts, he was extremely charming, pretty cute. I'd say so myself. Extremely talented. Because of his charm, because of his talent, he was a favorite amongst the higher officials of the Catholic Church, friends with some of the popes and cardinals, which means he's going to get a lot of opportunities, a lot of high-profile jobs. He was trained in various forms of art, but he was a sculptor foremost. He had a way of manipulating marble that made it look like it was flexible. It's insane. You might think I'm exaggerating here, but you're going to see it in the artworks I'm going to show in this class. He incorporates into sculpture, he somehow is able to incorporate not only texture and movement, but also like time. Like, how can he do it? He's a genius, is how he can do it. All right, Miss Cortez, let's see this. Okay. Here's our first artwork for Bernini. This is Bernini's David. It's carved of marble, and it's still in its original location, which is the Galleria Borghese in Rome. Now, you might be thinking, wait, I know this David, right? Isn't this Michelangelo's David? Yeah, same David, same biblical figure of the young man who received a message that he could defeat the enemy with his rock and sling, and he goes and he stands at the front lines and he strikes Goliath, that beast, in the forehead and confirms that God is on the side of the Israelites. Here's Michelangelo's, and we talked about this as being a perfect example of the Renaissance. This is Baroque, and this is a perfect example of the Baroque period. Now, I want to walk around this figure a little bit more, and then I want to ask you if you can tell me how are they similar and how are they different. Okay, so let's walk around. Well, here, this is a nice detail of their faces. All right, so in terms of the story, what we have is David, and he's loading up that sling, and he's twisting his torso, reaching back. Oh, there's the rock right there. You see that? So he's about to wind it up. Okay, so Bernini's David has Goliath still alive, just like Michelangelo's, right? Oh, we see some fabric covering his genitalia. Okay, okay. To give you a sense of scale, this is how it stands in the Galleria Borghese. We'll talk about why it's here and why that's important in a bit. I don't want to show you that vocab word yet. So, if we were in class together, I would ask you, hey students, so tell me now, what is similar and what is different about these two? Tell me about the characteristics. Use your vocabulary. And don't tell me that they're both David. I know that. Don't tell me that they're both marble. I know that. Don't tell me that Bernini's marble is a little bit different in color. That's not important here. Let's look at lines. Let's look at time of the story. What moment are they depicting? Let's look at age. Let's look at posture. Okay, okay. Well, Michelangelo stands in what? Contrapposto. Bernini's? He's like in this tight spiral. He's twisted down and he's about to let it rip. Okay. If we were to put a little invisible box around Michelangelo's, he would be looking outside that box, but he would fit perfectly still. If we put a box around Bernini's David, and then if he was to stand up, what would happen? He'd break out of that box. There is this compression of energy in Bernini's David. Compression of energy, like something that's being pulled or twisted around or at a diagonal. Do you see the diagonal lines in Bernini's David? Look at the lines of that arm, the twist of that body as he stretches from one side to the other. Tons of tension here. Even the sling is held at that angle. Look at that angle there. It's about to let it rip. Let's look at these faces. Let's think about tension versus harmony. For Michelangelo, the tension here is in looking out at the Goliath, but Michelangelo's David is in complete control. He stands in perfect balance, balance of body, balance of mind. However, Bernini's David, he is not in contrapposto. He is not in balanced body or balanced mind, and we see that in that face. Look at his focus. He's biting his lip. He's concentrating. They're both staring at Goliath, but there is more aggression in Bernini's David. Also, where is Goliath? Now, I ask you that because, yeah, Goliath's not in the scene. But if we were to look at Michelangelo's David and point, imagine you're standing in front of Michelangelo's David and point. Tell me, where is Goliath? He's over that way. He's that way. To the side. Okay, cool. Bernini's David. Ugh, he's behind you. Goliath, is right behind you, and you have to duck to get out of the way. What he's doing here, Bernini, he's pulling you into the scene. He's making it much more dramatic. Rather than Goliath being something off to the side that you can think about and worry about later, Bernini puts him behind you. Your imagination starts to run wild. A 7 to 10 foot giant behind me that you're throwing this rock? Dunk. Right? So much more drama. So Baroque. Now, this use of tension, the moment he's about to let that rock go, we see this kind of tension in a lot of Baroque art, to the point where we have a vocabulary word for it, the Baroque moment. So it's your first vocabulary word for this week. Baroque moment, the depiction of a moment in time when the action has been captured in mid-narration. What we're seeing here is the pinnacle of the story. If there is this tension building, conflict, Michelangelo's David is right there where he's like, okay, I'm going to throw this rock and then I'm going to do this and this and this. Bernini's is taking it even farther. It's the moment before the rock leaves his sling and hits Goliath. That is the pinnacle of the story, the climax, the Baroque moment. We're going to see this kind of tension and drama of the narrative a lot in the Baroque period. So our historians say, that moment, total Baroque moment. Now, I also said that there is significance to why it's at the Galleria Borghese. The Galleria Borghese, it is now officially a gallery or museum. It was originally the house to Cardinal Borghese, and this is located in Rome. You can go there after quarantine. You can go to Rome and you can visit the Galleria Borghese. You need to buy your tickets in advance online. And the museum, it's a house, a mansion. So it's time tickets to control the traffic flow within the museum. So you're going to get your time ticket in advance, and you're going to come, you're going to see all the stuff, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Miss Cortez, she was so right. This is amazing. This is at the Galleria Borghese. Why is it significant? Because it was paid for by Cardinal Borghese, a cardinal in the Catholic Church at the time of a counter-reformation. Why would that be significant? Who's the enemy? Who's the Goliath for Cardinal Borghese? The Protestants. So here, David is for Cardinal Borghese. David is the Catholic Church, and they are in a counter-reform against the enemy, the Protestants. I know, right? Also, the fabric. So Bernini gives David this nude body that we can appreciate the line of that diagonal, but there's this swath of fabric that's covering his crotch. You know what that is? That's Council of Trent right there. That's Council of Trent saying, okay, we can say no crotches. All right. So whoop, there goes that little piece of fabric. Just positions. Council of Trent doing its job. My goodness. All right, we're going to start our next video with another Bernini at the Galleria Borghese.